With nobody around his eyes. With nobody around.
Who will tell me when my day is through? I will close my eyes when I've done enough. When I've lived and died 1,000 times, the sun will rise when I do. Just before dawn, just before dawn, blue sky. Who will be the first to go? Never had it cross my mind. What goes on, I'm scared to miss. Any night, you should have someone to hold. Tell you that you did okay when your mind's against you. Just before dawn, blue sky. Just before dawn, blue sky. Blue sky. Who will tell me when my day is through? I will close my eyes when I've done enough. When I've lived and died 1,000 times, the sun will rise when I do. Just before dawn, just before dawn, blue sky.
Nobody has his eyes.
Here we are. Who will be the first to go? Never had it cross my mind. What goes on, I'm scared to miss. Any night, you should have someone to hold. Tell you that you did okay when your mind's against you. Just before dawn, blue skies. Just before dawn, blue skies. Blue skies.
I really think that you and I are one in a lifetime. Kinda love to make moves. Right then I was about for you can have the infinite, the romantic love for the ever earth shattering and heartbreakingly giving the beautiful epic in ways to be. The infant never scared enough to coach right to every step, but this the thorns and never tickled over the nose, it is to find the rip. Love, the thing I never had before, they was the hate. Love is the pain and love is the good. I can find pure harmony. I wonder why I chose you, left too few for this to find a note, the two-faced and sad part is really true. It was never right. Sleeping stillness, creeping silence, and rolling for the fog across the mind for the sound to put through the layers, and I felt though still feel like a bell for this emptiness of the drug, the abyss, this illicit, this dirty haze, this divine, the blindfold is still enough the senses for the saving of the life of the bombing over the darkness and the familiar with the plight. I dare not to peek around the claw for this to might define it. Exit in sight for never to be better than what I did with the waste and never to find the pain pour down the drain for this to roll it over your hand. Ignore the bleeding and forget the stitches and never to let it flow for this to be the seeping of a dealing with this swing. My legs are for water, but I don't want the land. bones. But if I'm the option of to be weak, for the pour my potential down the sink, a fault not that for their own, for the having known, for this the I'm the dust, this the less than the skin and the bones. An update for you can find who's enjoying the holiday for the together for the visual poem. You can find a planning of everything in and out still confused. This is true enough and I'm real. No doubt for you came in front of me. Feeling your different voice. Radiant enough to smile to captivate the same. Her sanity for the whoop and kiss her for the I'm confused and there's someone to know but please telling you over the falling for who. Falling for her. More than notification from another place for mine and I can find better. One in sight. No good for this layers felt for the fog across the mind. Update you were confused. Giving me peace of mind, the flowers are saying nothing but the linguistics for the relativity, for the history did not think the language for the solely mathematical for the equations and untitled notations and what you have are hardly thinking the language that cannot claim to be a genius, but I found it incredibly exhausting to write the ample poetry for this, not to think again for this algorithm for the, because of the language you can find if it's to be the image. Or how to speak of you for the deserving of the impression alphabet for you told me that you were hardly thinking the language and never cross your mind for when you sing. See, I hope that cannot think either not find what's that for the co-ed or the water down for the there is only us for the mere words and hear something new. Entirely, you told me that you could hardly thinking in any language with the love, listen maybe through the words and through the orchestral pieces, and never to listen to that for the hope that you can make me feel for this and want to find the ways of mirror instead. The ocean and the wave. Sorry for what I did to you. Maybe it wasn't a mistake for sometimes the pain takes over. Or a stupid idea for the look across the room, but I can't help that for the staring into the mind, for never to see you looking over the lips, and I can find the helping over the feel to be breathed, loved, this to cleanse. I feel uncomfortable space, this dark cluttered into the sunlight. Punchline. I'm fine, not a fool for you, for the joke's not through, and I'll be laughing untitled. Ocean and the wave, and I'm waving, and I'm sorry for what I did for the baby. It wasn't a mistake for the stupid idea, for you can find it looking away anyway, for this a chance to cleanse away the skinny. We're getting better for the strangest things that happen over the happiness, and maybe even for the wonder. Hours working diligently for the blanking of a slate. The last day of the year, for this good year that I thank God for my family members and my health, the vibe that I could find and feel the God's vibe of this note when you had to go into the can and never the wish you could for untitled and not a rainbow. The feeling I know but never met. Love is the realization for that you could rather feel for the pain in the world than that to lose the feeling for the love that doesn't have to be a person. It could be like this. 2, 1, the melody for the this all the happy dance and this you family made. To the rhythm for the tender flesh, this the warm blood dripping down the abyss, defining its own way for the real cares out there. You just gotta search for where. Abandoned and never to walk through that to be. Sabotage the coat, the belt. This is all there is for the retaining of the wings and a swing. Love sings, hate screams. This is my bloodstream merging into the nightmares and the dreams I destroyed to seek. This is another new for the behind the scenes of what is don't stop. This love. It's like jazz standing elsewhere going. Retaining wings and swinging. Do you ever wonder about the things that I'm doing? Or I'm sure the times you think of me for never to find it. Admit it for your eyes, the way they look around, you find themselves dripping. Or thirsty, riddling over your mouth. This piece like the movie for the stars and not for the cash out. Without the tragedy for the breathing of what you. I really think that you and I are one in a lifetime. Kind of love to make the moves. Write the novels about it. You can have the infinite. Beautiful eyes change for everyone and how you take some along. Surely you are capitalizing over your entire poetry. Ways and intent for the respecting of one's feelings. She didn't. She lost my love. The illusion that I once fell for her. I guess priorities do change for everyone. If you knew how someone came along, but surely you were capitalizing with the never the entire potent with strong intent to respect someone's feelings. We're in it for the frigid, the soul flooding in the river for the frozen hurt. Time to scar, the trying the hardest to heal, for this to flop it over the don't want the good days of the roaming and the remaining of the lost years. Consistent burn once found for no other than the design for the reason it inhabits the fire for your twin flame. Your soul set alight for this ignite for another the flame, but the already is it giving yourself a heart to another for the insincere. It would only be insincere, for the love is to burn with the ferocious and for the eternal flame for walking into my life, and I knew they would never be the same. The sound of your deep thoughts of mine, the whispers, for it was the anger issues that had triggered you. Whatever the sounds of the mind, for they got the best. The sounds of I can sometimes be cryptic and never the frightening, and the sounds deep enough that mysterious and chaotic to there is, but still the sound seems that this is the sound of mine, for this to be the mixture of the many things and the captivating of a movie has seen. And how I truly feel for the writing through this is probably wondering why, but you could be lying next to me sleeping if you're dreaming of angels, and I'm not gonna wake you. Sorry for being noisy again for the through you. The phone will never get insecure or insecure for this to be the end to you. And find a cure for the never to want to be between someone's legs. Cause that for the hurt for to be no more, for the talking over the in another for the this to be the opening of the door for the never want to do that anymore, for this to be all. Stop. You kept going. You were talking to guys from before. Now I don't need to play the talk, but it is to find the girls, and this dudes, and just find putting that to the back of the head, so never to make the thing I want to be in the to find the bed. Myself, and never the one to call to be in the head for the baby. Just finding a thing for to find out what I was looking for. I don't have to look no more, cause I found what I was searching for. These same words from me before, for I mean it with my whole heart. For this the mind so cost. These three words misunderstood before. I know in my heart for that I truly mean for that. Even more for what I said before, for that I'm not going nowhere. Leaving like I did before, for not to mention it to me, for the cause deep down, for the really don't trust me, they never to find to act it anymore, for this to please to give for the benefit of the doubt, for there for the willing to make that mistaking it more for that I did before, for you didn't want to be truthful, you lied to me more, I can't be without you, like the prescription over the dose of this to be stronger than I'm ever living, you gave me more for the scared enough to lose you, to find those holes and never to find the rules of war, and either for never the single for that you can talk freely to anyone, the people anymore. I asked you to marry me for never to want to have your baby for the family and grow together, for never the trust went out it's fine to say, but this to close all the other doors, never to open before. I won't need another woman for the you can now open the door for anyone to come in between the jar. Petty and mature for the growing of the seeing things for what they truly are, for now I've got a queen and never she wanted a king for this to win. One thing for not to let one of those other women get in between, for this to have a rare. And I don't want to share it for not understanding it caused that for the difference to find a man from a boy. The consistent burn, I found no other way to desire, for the reason of its inhabitants to fire your twin flame. How I truly feel for this to probably wondering why how you dreaming of angels and writing a short poem, for this to find a crush someday, for looking forward to the next years, the bumps at the end, for the day I was scared enough of the coaching and watching my step, but this is the day I cried. Thorns, love the smell of flowers, the way it tickled the nose. She looked at me like the love. This is the only thing that had it for the hate. It was hatred. Reminded me of those rose thorns and thorns that came from you at any moment. Love is pain and love is love, and ever the pain is love. For this is sometimes summer rain for the days like this, and you can find the days of ending over the heart for this and missing of a place. Love brings the pain and love, the loss of heart for the beats. This to find the blood rushing to your head for the feet, the soul, the whole. Love is pain and never the pain is love. No matter what, taking a long time to understand someone you especially, you're made for this right or wrong to always be your side. Pure art. Artistry find a know for the how, the crafting your knack, and this the expertise of the man. Oh, professional with the mastery for the paving of his own track. Meanwhile, trade conquering new mobility for the entertainment, for you can share the capacity for the never the methods of your greatness, of the flow of emotion for your pen, for the twilight, for the memorable moments, and you'll simply write about event for the triumphant production by the talents of your skill, for the realization, for the reminding over your completion, over your made effect for the moments of the
blue skies.
Every year at this time, the National Space Administration requires all aliens to register. Forms are available at your local post office. Those without forms must appear, however briefly, at the Bureau's Astral offices on Nooker Street.
What I have to do for this is fine. Life will make me smile and never blue. I'm crying over you like I used to do. For this the last time to get out of that. For the truth to say goodbye. For any more over that. For this to be the better for the losing. You can find what's to feel the love, and I can find what I have to do. Fine, no crawl for this, nothing right, wrong. Finding is that for this is gone and have you found. What did you expect from this miracle for the when you are the brightest star for everything around us left feeling dark and you can never care. You're never there. Once you reach the top, you can find things should never be forgotten for that you can left. Where the only thing left to do now is fall down. Where I started for them, where I've been, for this to rise up and you descend, for this is careful enough for you wish this is when you pretend. You got it all now, but you are still not content. Slip down the ladder for something you can't climb it again. Win. Brightest star, but you don't know what it's like to be dark. Always at the top of your life is that the hand hard enough at the throat. It's to die for the place left for you to go down and see you next fall. Have a nice trip. Right here, I started for the could be where I end. Fall down, it wasn't born walking. It started on my knees crawling and it begun falling down. And I can feel like crawling because I can never fall down for this to be the dark star. Or the moving face of your mature woman, they sure to never fit the kind of beauty. Face lingers and gently. Moving facial expressions are clear to remember for the nobility, for the depth, and this is the flow out of them, for the admiring femininity, for the depending of features, kind of nostalgia, for the disputed naturally wisdom, for the never they notice that becoming over, the often hardly visible to never be around them. And the skin, the smile, the rose, the wrinkle upon the cheeks leave you gazing over the flashing of silver threads. This is wrapped behind. Stopping at the strain for the ear pad, for the pressure, for the hanging of a pearl, for the small detail, for the spinning the whole. Focus on these small distinctions, sharpens your vision, the fullness of the picture, accomplish your classical music of the background, for the often hear that for the when I make a discovery. I don't know if it's a coincidence or the baby. Background image for the reminds me of myself, for the however this moving image that you find in front of that for the promising that you can hear behind me. The rose of the titles, piece of the part for the lover that you can find. Kissing souls tied, and it's a distant relationship for the confusion. Misplaced for the titles and roles for the difference, and never the final fling of the soul for the thinking about the love, the plays, and the emotion, the toys, and the feelings, and you can find what's all to play. Everything fades away for the remain in the memory, for the ridiculous and enough of the sound, for this you can find a kissing over yourself, with the misunderstanding of a mission statement. Everyone thinks ministry is that for the mission, for the never go the mission for you can find. Misunderstanding for what you should be the down. Reading of the meaning of the God's chosen pattern, for the what you find have been prophesied to do the exploit. Follows up for the church and the building, for the pulpit, for the sanctuary, for the ministry, for this to be wasted is over. Your sonship for the never get that, for the intended, for the purpose and never defined. For everything finally crushes down, for the cry, for the break, calling over the you can find a hard thing for the distant. Planning over the disciples of the nation, for that you can find it into the world, for the teaching of it, which you can find the people for the nation, the system over your attraction. Act the system, not the world, for the livelihood, for every nation tears the system, for the never defined it, existing for the telling over your world, for this is to penetrate worlds and system, for this you can find an economical influence and sector, for this is the living over your business and providing your solutions. You have the way for your influence and you're fulfilling enough for the commission, for that you can have the salvation in Christ. And now I'm trying to breathe, suffocating in a room like prison, for the never to find earth, and I was thinking never to lock like a bird, for this is being the sign enough that you can't cage. Ha! In the moment you can unravel yourself and make stable. Breathing, the only option, waiting is has to happen after to get the centering back for the stable for the planet, enough for you stare out the window for the sadness and wanting to fly for your wings and they're clipped. Circumstance cut them now, living for the breathing, and how I find free to roam, but this allows me to find the moonlight outside of your dancing over the blue for the time they're coming over to your station and cage. Open matter for the time for to keep humble. Pain is temporary for your being, soul pain isn't real enough for the fight for the daily battle for your soul versus flesh. Today you won't find this flesh in mind, tomorrow could be mine, and ask her for the medicine and not to show the feelings and never saw the face of this in mind. Stop thinking. Or puppy for the part for this to be given in a bath and moving faces of the mature woman for the extraordinary for the kind of them for the face and linger inside of me gently. Roles and titles and you can find them kissing and confusion for the last dance remains memory. And I find the background hard to understand and comprehend what to be the complicated enough of your love drum for the mind has always been for the loud unoccupied uncomposed orchestra for the look into the eyes of the All well. Seems the flames will burn out. I see that I'm nothing to you. I see that my being doesn't brighten your day, for the good morning means absolutely nothing. And to see the energy that's ran its course, this is with you in the now. You're moving in a different direction than once you. What you are happy with, this to see that how I want things to be, to feel the not knowing even if the caring is once worth energy. I see the time is not important to you, or the attention less of the priority to them. And nothing will ever change there for the minds, nor you will never change your hearts. This is once to set it on a new toy for life, and this is time to burns out. And a goodbye. Glad to see you through for the lessons and have been for the best of the year. For this is so many lessons to learn for the losing their loved ones. Falling out of those with you saw for the apologies and never being accepted for the ever the mighty, for the awesome God for forgiving us for the sins and never to find a cause to delay for the ever. We serve a mighty awesome God that cleans us from all the sins and never to find that for the even be easy for this belief or other word for this is but the wonderful news of this is the air that we can reach something nice, nothing something breezy from our God. With a nod because of the apologies and offers being accepted for he wants to always have us prepare for the unexpected. In another spring from never left the branches for the some new leaves appeared. Some days left to die, some days left to life, and some nights stayed in the heart forever for the few tears fell down for yet so many smiles shone. This is some warmth that was felt from afar, for this is a spring that was gone. The new sun waiting for the rays of hope for another spring to come. And to tell me you want to strap up you can find a never you're yacht. The guardian angel for the not left you for the hours isn't a day for the wasn't by your side for never the one to comfort yourself for the support for the coming or the moment of unnecessity or uncertainty. And I've want to lift you up for the giving you love of the guidance and you feel it lost your way. And it fell upon the deaf ears of standing in front of me for the tell me how you want the back for this as much hurt inside for this the counting of sheep. How you cry for the believing it. Meant to be for this the voice that began to crack for the adding that you were never said the goodbye and never the still walked away for this is how I needed to know for this anything you wanted to do with you. But there's a deserter for the countless of times and even when I was at my lowest of points. So now I'm returning the favor to you for the here's like that wounded dog. For this is a tale between the legs of begging for the forgiveness and you can find a sad bump in the law for the unwilling and over the escape of the red for the strengthening over your weakness and all of the fallen letters and I wrote to this defining what to say for this and none that seemed to matter except for the few lines and if it was the last that should be embraced to hold together for the hold you longer for never should have told you how much I loved your existence for the love the random for the rare you are for this I should have known it for the last and I could have loved a little less the hated you a little more for this is because of that for writing all the pain and I don't know how to save myself for the should have known you wouldn't stay for this is fine. No, the none will last, and never to find a hurting this much for to save myself for the little. For the days of the count, to the years goodbye, for the purple grass, of the diamond sky, for the sweet romance of the frozen winter day. And there's the cages, this the only there for the making for the allow yourself to lock down, fair for the not of the regret, the way I see it, the taste of pain for the it will be bittersweet for the bitter because it hurts. Where do I begin? In the new year for the member. For the hue to be the trench, and to stop the raining, to stop beating me down, for the pain is so too without with the writing over you're waiting to the end for the sea in and out. And I'm ashore, receding, deeply breathing and believing I can swim, for so why is it so dark and dim, for the pressure crushing from within. Where do I begin? It was like the corn maze as you were born, for the through the entrance into the gate, for that you must begin the journey that seal your fate for the first straight line, for the trudging over the forward to the divine, for the joys that look to scope to faith, for the soon enough of the maze will leave you within a trace. And as we come across the first decision, we shall embrace for the moment that we choose that the light begin to sink in tune. And the further you would try not to panic for the giving of options and through the half to choose the wrong for starting and to sweat a fear. This is a brain that tells you you're nowhere near for the running and to the people for the staying for quite a while for this to continue your own path. You're labeled unworthwhile for too deep to back out of the twist of the turn for that you start to weep as you try to shortcut through the bushes and never through the tangle with the lies and hush. Now you're lost, you're met for the deep decision for the should I gave up with the keep going and never to find a corner maze. Losing hope, but this upon explaining for the distant, be the depression and never the new. Listen to the depressing poems without the plan. The cold seeps into the bones, and the cold seeps into the clouds, or the back into the sun, for it looks like it's going to rain. And I'm leaving you